It's Lizzie Grubman. It's so great to speak to Adam and Dax on Hollywood Raw. Please tune in and get an inside look of what I'm up to, what I'm working on, and what Hollywood and the music business is going through right now.
Welcome to the Hollywood Raw YouTube page, guys. We're happy to have you here. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave us comments, do all the stuff.
What are you waiting for? Let's go. I got a drug addiction to feed.
Welcome to the Hollywood Raw podcast. I'm Dax Holt not in Los Angeles. I was going to say Los Angeles, but I'm not. I'm in Orange County, which is way better than Los Angeles.
California.
And then I got Adam on the other side of the country, not in New York. He is down toasting his buns in Miami right now, just living the life. This is what all you just lovely people out there do. Does most of New York travel down to Miami or just get out of the city?
Yes, but not during this time of year. During this time of year, it's a little too hot here. You want to stay, I guess the New Yorkers either go to the Jersey Shore. If you have a lot of money, go to the Hamptons or Nantucket. I don't have a lot of money, so I had to go down to Florida. No, but I'm just down here for the weekend, just kind of hanging out. It's nice weather. It's good to be down here. Miami's fun. During the winter, everyone in the East Coast, they go to Miami probably, at least try to go multiple times, not just for the weather, but for the Instagram. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You got to say you're in Florida. You got to say you're in Miami.
Got to do it for the gram. Well, today we got a big guest on, someone that we have wanted on for quite some time, Lizzie Grubman, who is just a huge publicist in the world of PR and in entertainment in general. She used to have a TV show on MTV called Power Girls. That's how I started to know her name, because that show was a really big deal. It kind of gave you an inside glimpse of just the world of socialites and partying and PR and everything. And she's represented some of the biggest people in the world, like Jay-Z and Britany and Justin, she's done it all. And I feel like we talk so much about publicists and their role in the entertainment world. And so having her on, I feel like there's a lot of questions that we can ask her to kind of get that inside glimpse of what is it really like being a publicist. We've had Crisis PR on, we've had some other publicists, but she's one of the top publicists out there. So I'm really excited to have her on. Adam, what's the one thing that you're most excited to talk to her about?
I just love having these candid conversations with these people. Because I'm interested in what they do, what their exact role is. And I hope our audience, I mean, I got to imagine you guys are rolling with us. You've been with us for a while now, that you guys are curious about this job, because it's a very vague job. You hear the term a lot, but what do they exactly do, especially nowadays? How much control do they exactly have with, if you have a high profile client? I know you guys love a lot of blind item stuff. How do you control the blind items? And do you even respond to that stuff, or you just kind of let it be? Does it become a fart in the wind and just kind of let it blow over? I don't know. You just want it to blow over a little bit. So, but I'm excited for Lizzie because, again, either if you know her, you know she's a legend. If you don't know her, you should know she's a legend in the PR game. Before we get to Lizzie, we read your reviews live on air. We love it. We just want to show some love to the people that showed us some love. Dax, do you have a review ready for us?
Yep, I got an iTunes review right here. This one is from YYXY Forever, and it says 5 stars. Love this podcast. At Jen Hill. I love this podcast. It brings me joy every Friday morning when I'm getting ready for work. Just joined the Facebook group. Question is Adam single? Love you guys. Ooh.
Jen Hill, you got no chance. I am off the market. Dax and I, it's announced we are together. We have been dating for a long time. You guys finally know we have a long distance relationship. When I see Dax once a year, we get it on. No, that's so stupid. Isn't that crazy? Dax and I, we only get to see each other. Maybe we talk pretty much every day, and then we only get to see each other once or twice a year, really. I mean, I don't know.
It's always so funny because it's almost awkward because I'm not supposed to see you in person. You're supposed to always just be on the other side of the country in a little Skype box that I see.
And then this time, we just saw each other a few weeks ago. we meet up in a Target parking lot, and then we ride over to Heather McDonald's podcast, and then we go back to the Target podcast, and that's it because we're just busy
we went
guys.
back to Target, walked in, used the restroom, took a photo, and left.
Yeah, it's just
and we're like,
really...
good seeing you, bro. Have a good one. Even though you were here for like a week, I saw you for 3 hours.
Dude, I'm a working guy. I gotta make money moves, man. I'm making money moves. But thank you, Jen, for the respect for reaching out. I really appreciate you, Jen. On to our guest today, Dax. Do you have tell us about our guest today?
Our guest today is legendary publicist. Some consider her a socialite in her own right. She is so well known in the PR industry. Lizzie Grubman, welcome to the podcast.
So, Lizzie, thank you for coming on the podcast. It's you are a legend in the game of publicists. People know you from MTV. Some people like myself who grew up on you. I just remember as a tri-state growing kid that I would read Page 6 and see your name all over it and see that you were just a mogul. You were a very powerful person. But for our audience who doesn't know what a publicist does or what they exactly do, explain the job of a publicist.
It's a part of marketing, but it's unpaid advertising. That's the best way I can say it for magazines and television networks and all that. And it's also, you try to be as authentic to the brand, the person, the place, whatever it is, and be real about it. But when I started, it's so different now. We had so many magazines, so many newspapers. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have social media. So we didn't even have email. I remember sitting by a fax machine. My first job, MTV, I actually was an intern and worked there for about 8 months after as an actual real employee. And they put me on a country music and I almost lost it. I was like, country music? No, I liked, pop. Basically, nowadays, all the magazines are not in print. It's all about podcasts. And again, I love you guys. You know that. Adam, I've known you forever. How long haven't I seen you even? It's like,
I haven't seen you. It's been a while. Pre-COVID, but before that, it's just been a while. I think.
How long have you lived in LA?
Well, I'm in Miami now. I'm in New York, but last time I saw you, this is gonna age you a little bit, but last time I saw you is when Rachel Yucatel opened up her store.
Oh my God!
She opened up a little cute store in the Upper West Side, and you were helping her out for a little bit. And I remember she was.
Very little bit. I like Rachel. I just don't work for Rachel.
No, but I remember she was so nervous, and you were just like, Rachel, just calm down, just chill, relax. It's all good. And you were just the one who kind of made it happen, kind of gained some publicity to her store, and you were, I don't know, you were just ahead of the game. You just knew your stuff. You knew everyone knew you.
I get bored. So I like to take people who either in the start of their career or even brands or whatever it is and build it, or take people who, like in the crisis department, I love to fix problems. Okay. So I love to make things, happen. But if I blatantly don't believe the person in crisis, I will not take that person.
So I know you can't always talk about every client you've worked with, but has there ever been someone out there that has gone through a major crisis? You're like, damn, I wish I could represent them so well. I could have changed the narrative for them, and they just missed the mark, because there's been some major crisis PRs
I think that I learned crisis and I was left with nothing to do. Okay. Not nothing to do, but like during quarantine and COVID, there was nothing, there was no work. My actor, my management company, no one was recording. If they were recording, they were, doing it in a closet. And if not, they were in the Hamptons. There was the whole thing was a disaster. So that's when I really focus on it. But I learned from experience. I'll leave it at that. You know what I mean? That's how I really learned how to deal and read between the lines.
Well, how about this? What would your strategy be for Tom Sandoval right now?
I think, honestly, I think this is a press thing. I mean, this is the best thing that ever happened. Last season was awful. I would tell them, all of them. I think Tom is Tom. Will they get fired? Why? Would you? I mean, it wouldn't make sense for Tom. Maybe Raquel doesn't come back and they, whatever, or Rachel, whatever her name is. But my point to you is like, I don't think it's bad. I think it's now getting a little overkill. And they should chill out for a minute, but that's all.
See, what I love about your answer is it's good press, because it is good press. Like, at the end of the day, this is the best thing that happened for the TV show.
And also even that Peacock that I wish I can get back on.
No, it's great. So, if you were the publicist of Bravo right now, would you just say, keep doing what you're doing? Because I felt like the cast members are just throwing so much gas on the fire where they're going to be able to use this for more money. But if you're the publicist for Bravo, what would you tell the cast members? Do you say just keep going, keep doing what you're doing? Do you have any advice for them?
I think they need to pause till they really figure out what's really going on, meaning like a few months, not like 2 years. Okay, we need their programming back on the air. And I think they bring back maybe some of the old cast members that were asked to leave, like the originals. Why this season, I think, was the best I've seen in a long time. It was the people I watched in season 1. And believe me, I watch Vanderpump Rules. It's one of my favorite reality shows on TV.
Well, they brought Kristen back. Kristen's coming back now.
About a half hour, okay? Half a second. I shouldn't even give her a half hour. Get half a second from old footage. But they really have to bring her back,
No,
that was on the extended version, I believe, on Peacock, not on the actual read.
No, I mean, we've talked about it numerous times. Kristen came on our podcast right after being fired and talked all about it. And my big takeaway was that was a big fail on Bravo's part. Like, that could have been a learning moment for the world, like watching her learn what she did wrong rather than just firing her. Like,
you know what? It was a case of bad timing. Okay, they had no choice. Stassi included, and Stassi was the star of the TV show. Okay, yep. She was as big as anyone. Between her and Lala now, in my personal opinion. Okay, I think Lala is great, but I think also, going back to what you asked me before, Lala is a lot of what everyone saw on the reunion. I think was personal, problems that were coming out and venting. No one likes to be called a mistress. Who? I mean, but at the same time, meanwhile, she's calling, but I think Lala is great. I think she makes the show too. And she's not one of the originals.
Yeah.
Lizzie, going back to your job as a publicist, how do you maintain a good relationship with the media outlets and the writers? Because at the end of the day, there is chances when you have high profile clients, they are going to write negative stuff about your clients, and you want to be able to control the narrative a little bit, and you only have so much control.
Well, I can answer this in one, never lie. I mean, if you're going to lie to the media, your credibility is out the window. I'm big on the no. I never comment, even if they're not doing anything wrong. So it doesn't look weird. But if it's a real serious situation, then obviously we all work together. Anyone who says, wow, those sources or this or that, if they're friends and they're people who are calling everybody, that's what I don't like. The misconception of the sources,
So when we read a story and you see sources close to, let's just say, one of your clients, is that, who is the sources?
They're friends, they're people who, managers maybe. I'm a manager, but I'm talking about when I strictly stay in the PR lane here. I mean, I'm not going to tell you guys I was never a source, but it was never a source to hurt someone. That's the difference, okay? There's ways of being sources. You don't call, if you run into someone who's hypothetically, you run into, like you Tom, okay, in a restaurant. He's not my client, and never even met him, okay? And I call and I say, guess who's in New York? Guess who I saw at dinner? That's the same concept. So, and I overheard him, like the girl on the plane that TMZ, and who broke that story, TMZ or New York Post, of the phone. That was the best stage picture of all time. I mean, come on, I could do that too. I mean.
Oh, the Sandoval one?
Yeah, I mean, who's his publicist?
I have no idea.
Actually, I feel like a lot of them are represented by the same person in that
No,
group.
they all have the same agent, which is ridiculous. And
Yeah.
It's not ridiculous because the originals, but I think Lala has her own, but the Toms and a bunch of them have their own. But I remember meeting Jax, and he just simply couldn't afford me. Now he's like, all those guys made so much money.
I have a question for you, Lizzie. Over the years, because earlier you're talking about how much the landscape has changed in publicity and PR because there's social media, there's now podcasts and all that stuff. Has Twitter and some of these social media platforms made your job harder because now people say dumb shit or post stupid things that get them in trouble?
It's inevitable. I do. Okay. I mean, a spell check needs a whole revamp, according to me. I mean, they have my misspellings in their thing. So I'm like reading a post I do on my Instagram. I'm like, whoa. I really seem illiterate, but I've been told it's endearing. So I'll go with that.
But
Instagram is definitely yes, because the problem here is, but I hope this, it's not my thing to do to craft a statement, put it on your Instagram. You're never going to see something like that. If like what was Gwyneth Paltrow's famous line, the conscious,
unconscious uncoupling or whatever the heck it was, conscious uncoupling.
You know what? It probably happened. 20 media outlets found out they filed for divorce, as you both know. Okay. And guess what? Boom. It's an easier way. I'm not a Twitter person like I was when it first came out as a news feed, but it's very hard to navigate now. I'm
just saying, if you're representing a client, they now have access to say something quickly to a lot of people
and then
that maybe you don't. You're like, no, we would have said something different.
Yeah, but you know what? I media train them. I don't know. I really haven't had that problem. The only problem I've had it with is myself because I can't spell. No, but I'm being honest with you. I really haven't had that. Hasn't been like one of the real big problems here. The big problems is magazines getting upset they're not getting babies on the cover. They used to pay, and right now is a really trying time for these, especially the writers, the actors, and everyone who's doing TV shows. They only can do reality, and everyone thinks reality cheapens your image, but it really doesn't.
Yeah. So how much were these people, and were you the one brokering the deals when they would get, a cover, let's say, of People Magazine or Us Weekly, of showing off their kid? Is that something you would get involved in, or how did that work?
I have the people who do it, but do I personally broker the deal? No. I would. I mean, if you go out of the country like Australia or London or England, but all those papers, they pay. In the States, they very rarely pay. Okay, but they do on occasion, as we all know. Everyone will say they don't pay, but they pay. But the reality here is that, no, I had someone else. I have a lot of different outside affiliations, so I'd rather not be involved in that. I know when to stay in my lane and what I do best, and I stick in that lane.
Yeah. How scary is something like Dumois with you? And I say that because Dumois, they're the first ones to, she is the first one to say that she's not able to. She's not saying she's overly confident in what she's getting stuff written to her, but she still posts about it. And a lot of stuff is true, but some of the stuff obviously might not be true. So as a publicist, do you get concerned with something like that? And how do you can work with
yes, but
blind items?
Yes, 100%, 100%. But I haven't had that problem. as I said, like, I think I have to have that or been hired for a problem like that, should I say. So I think that when I'm in it, I can give you a perfect answer. No one can control what anyone says. I can't control what you're going to ask me next. I can't control anything. I can't, I'm supposed to control myself. And I told you straight out, like, as you all can tell, I have ADD. So I talk a mile a minute. And basically, it's very hard. So I type a mile a minute. That's my problem.
Going on back to you personally, PR is not the easiest game to get into. How did you get so successful so quickly at such a young age?
I did it differently, I think. I think we all did it differently. I don't, there was a group of us who all had our own companies. I didn't believe in the press release. I'll tell you that, and I still don't. I only do press releases when I'm working for a public company. I think press releases, no one's writing the same thing. Press releases are good if you're taking a company public or something like that. That's great. But for someone like me, let's use Sex and the City, okay? Not the new one. When I worked for HBO and we did the premieres, sending out a press release did me no good. Sending out a photo or a tip sheet was the best. That made the event or the premiere or who was in the first episode. We would do magazines and we'd go through the article piece by piece and pull out the buzz quotes. So, yes. So now in terms of like social media and the blogs and YouTube and this and that, it's a lot.
Yeah, it really is.
And that's why I have to hire younger because I can't. It's overwhelming.
When I first started hearing about you, again, as you were a few years older than me, and I was growing up, and I would read Page Six, and I'd see your name and stuff. I remember there was a story by the New York Magazine saying you were one of the most powerful people in New York City. Did you?
Let's all slow down here. That's not true. Okay. I mean, what am I, 25 and I'm so powerful?
But you were it was a different time back then than it is now.
Okay, but still.
You were the gatekeeper, which they would say. So it was a very powerful position, but power in a different way. It was just
power if you wanted to go out and be seen and be in a A-list party, sure, okay?
Yeah.
What other power did I have? But I didn't even have that power. I just made sure, again, we'd have the right doorman, we'd have the right person. Everything I always did back in the day when I was really doing events, on top of all this, even launching a AOL. No one knew what AOL was. Can you imagine this? This is in the late 90s, maybe 98. Okay. It was so much fun because it was just having parties for your friends. Okay. And basically knowing everybody and then giving them stuff. And plus, I got to know a lot of people. Whether it was in New York and Los Angeles, we were always back and forth. And also half of the New York kids who are now, whether they're fashion designers or whatever they're doing, worked for me. Nicole Richie was an intern. Okay. I had, who else was an intern? I mean, I can go on and on, but we had Nikki Hilton. Well, Paris was, always around. I think it was Nikki because I had in Casey Johnson, and she's not with us anymore, but she was an intern. I mean, we had that friend group. As my kids would call it, when we were, we'd call it a clique when we were their age, but they call it friend groups. And we just had a really good time because I thought work should be fun. And you have to be really passionate about what you do. And I was always really passionate about what I did. Taking a client, one of my staff members said to me, Lizzie, you know what? Why don't we just take this and see what happens? And no, there's no seeing what happens. You're only as good as your last, success.
Now, I mean, you've worked with everyone throughout the years. Is there someone that stands out in your mind of this was a really fun client to work with? I can always credit my hip hop knowledge and career to
I call him Puffy to this day and Jay-Z. Okay. If it wasn't for them, I would not know anything. And Steve Rifkin, I must say. Then in fashion, I get, Britany.
Mm-hmm.
Clive Calder from Jive Records hired me to do Britany, Backstreet Boys, and NSYNC. And that was a lot of fun. I mean, yeah, you know what? You don't appreciate what you were doing until you're not doing it. Not that I'm not doing it. I'm way too old and I have way too many kids and way too many other companies to do all of this. But the reality is, it was, as either of you or both of you said, it was a very different time then.
Yeah. Well, walk me through what it was like. Like, tell me the craziness, the hype when you were working with Britany and NSYNC and Backstreet. Like, I want to know what that was like for you.
You know what? My dad, as we all know, is an entertainment lawyer. So I grew up going to concerts at a very young age. So I wasn't like the starstruck PR person. So you could be famous or you could not be famous. I didn't care. It's almost like the concept of, I didn't know what my dad did until I went to college. Because every college person must have researched me, okay? And basically they were like, oh my God, your dad represents. I was like, okay. Like, it didn't mean anything to me, He was just hustling, and working really hard. And my mom was up by his side. So by the time I was doing stuff, and everyone always said, oh, your dad got you, your clients. One thing me and my father always said, Lex, we had one client but in a different capacity, and that was Tommy Mottola and Sony in the beginning. Okay.
Tommy Mottola.
Yeah. Personal.
Okay, he's
married. He used to be married to Mariah Carey. Now he's married to Celia, who's the Mexican superstar. She's beautiful and she's lovely. But that was the only client because he was divorced. He was going through the divorce with Mariah. I was doing Hampton clubs. I loved doing clubs back in the day. But, as you get older, I remember being in the Hamptons, pregnant with my oldest son. And a press person said, Lizzie, and I'm not going to lie once again. Okay. They said, are you pregnant? And I said, why? They were like, we've never seen you with a stomach, And I didn't have a stomach, but I was trying to pull it off. And then I went home that night. I looked at my, not ex yet, but soon to be ex, husband, and said to him, I said, you know what? I'm never going to a club again. I'm pregnant. Okay. This is back in the, I said, and also, it's a horrible look. And, I'm supposed to be an image person, and I'm in the club with the belly? No, okay? He's like, I think he gained maybe 8 pounds, but okay. But I'm that little, so, everyone thinks I'm really tall. Adam knows I'm not tall because I never met you in person. Up until COVID and until breaking my ankle also, I would wear 8-inch heels. But I really am barely 5'1".
So with Britany, did you work directly with her or do you work mostly with the managers or people around? I'm just curious how that
at that time, she was controlled by Jive Records in the beginning, okay? Mm-hmm. And Larry Rudolph, who I adore, and his daughter worked for me as well at some point, pre-COVID in that time frame. Basically, what's it called? He was her lawyer. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we'd come up with crazy things. People would call me and basically say, from England, okay, let's fix up, Britany and Prince Harry or William. I forgot honestly which one. Who's she closer in? William.
William, I think William.
All right, so we had the best time with this, okay? We would just go back and forth, but we would do these crazy articles that were really more picture. Everyone knew she wasn't dating him. Everyone knew she was dating Justin. I hired a Justin lookalike for her 17th birthday. I'll never forget it. And I was like, oh my God. I mean, everyone was like, how did you find that person? I was like, I was a full casting in my office.
So like you guys would actually do these like, hey, she's dating Prince William? That's awesome.
No, the editors would be
The
like,
editors would call you and say she's dating Prince
yeah, and I
William?
would be like, and they would be like, why don't we do a spread? I go, a spread on what? A lie? Like something that doesn't mean anything. But it was much more out of the box and but for all of us involved, for you guys behind, doing the stories, and for me creating a story that's, but it made no sense. It really made no sense because it was like, but there was one article about her and Prince Harry. I forgot which, it was a magazine. I forgot. I was like, it was a very pretty article. You show Britany in some park that's not even a park, in my opinion. Okay, but it looks like the most beautiful castles behind her.
So funny.
Who was the person you were out in nightlife? You saw a lot of people partying and hanging out when you were at that time. Who was the person that was just probably the most fun, the life of the party?
There was a lot of people. I mean, I have to tell you, the worst were the club owners and the restaurants and it depends, who was the most fun. I had a list of like the most fun. I remember, it would be like club lists. Who would it be? Who likes to stay out till 5 a.m. in New York City? That kind of thing. But everything was different. And then there became this group. You were involved in it, Adam, okay? That would just go everywhere together. Monday was one place. Tuesday was another. Like it was going to that point. And we would all just meet up there.
So
yeah.
If I had to do an event and it came out on one of those nights, guess where the party was? At that place.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned how your father was an entertainment lawyer. He represented a bunch of big people like Madonna and Bruce Springsteen. What was it like growing up around these like mega stars? Did you have interaction with any of these people? Did they come over for like parties at your house or anything?
I mean, as I told you, one thing were they in my house every day? I think my dad's closest with Bruce and Madonna today than he ever was, with trust and loyalty. He's been their lawyer since who knows when. Okay. But I don't remember seeing Bruce or Madonna. I met really Madonna through Ingrid Caceres in Miami. They're in Miami right now, doing Opening Liquid and Barroom with Chris.
Okay. Interesting. And then going on to like your MTV days and when Power Girls came on TV, how did that come about? How did they go, we want to see an inside glimpse of the PR world? Like, let
me just put it to you this way. Everyone loved it. And it was so poorly rated with its 2 million viewers every week. Okay. But whatever the media wants to say. People would kill for 2 million. You know this.
Yeah,
okay.
100%.
Okay. But it took a year to film. It wasn't my company. That was the problem. It was like I was my own worst publicist. I sound like an idiot. Okay. Like I would never do it again, but I would produce a reboot, which we've been asked to do, not with the original people in it, okay, but just to do something, not necessarily for MTV, but people love that show. It showed the white party for Puffy. It showed Fashion Week, behind the scenes. What I did show was Real Access and how it really worked. And then when I watched it back, I'm like, holy shit, I'm giving away every trade secret I have. Who my friends are. And I was like, okay, game over.
Yeah.
A lot of magazines wouldn't let their people talk on camera with me or on a phone call with me. And they were smart in retrospect, looking back.
No, yeah, because it's being filmed, right? So anything they say is going out there publicly.
I mean, about my event the night before and say, you must be in, by X or Y or, whatever day it was. Because, you're only, everything, it's like, what's the famous line that they say about like the news? Like, thank God for online news now. It's so up to the minute.
Yeah. Is there anyone that would be like your dream client, someone that you've never worked with that you would love to just have that time to represent them?
You know what? At one point, I probably would have said yes. Who that person is, I don't know. Right now, I think I've been fortunate enough to work with so many great people. Listen, I'm not closing my office doors, but very interesting people come to me.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, I know what I'm good at and what I'm not, so I'm not going to do something that I'm not good at. I'm trying to think. That's a good question, because everyone always asks me the same question about politics. Would you ever do that? Would you ever be? No. Okay, I don't know. But, I think there was a misconception during an election that I was like, whatever the case is. But I think that politics is off the table with me because I represent people who have different opinions. And I want to get into. I honestly, I don't know. I have to tell you, at least I touched upon anything that interests me. I know what works. Like I was a PR commentator on all the news channels. I see that light. I have the Cindy Brady complex.
Yeah.
So I know I'm a better behind the scenes person.
Okay.
But I
Lizzie,
grew up. All of you, like Adam, like even you, we all grew up together. So the people who were on the bottom are now on the top.
Yeah.
Think about it. Kind of cool.
No, it's true. Lizzie, as a publicist, okay, if you're representing someone who's high profile and they're dating someone who's high profile, do you call that other person, that other client's publicist and say, okay, my client's dating your client, let's work together to kind of control the narrative of the stories that are coming in. Can you let me know if you're getting inbound calls? Like, how does that work?
If it's real, yeah. I mean, do I set up clients with clients? The clients with other people? Of course, we all do that. Okay. But when it's really real, it starts becoming like Instagram and you guys not you guys, or video, the Blast or TMZ interviews, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You get them cold, you bust them, that's the best footage. That's when you really have to be like, come on guys, now you're really busted. What are we doing? Okay.
So, yeah. But going back, we've often talked about this, that there is this like, people will do fake relationships because it works really well for press. Have you been involved in the fake relationships? Just get people out there and have them go on a date?
I don't think it makes any sense unless it's like a huge someone with a up and coming someone. And honestly, it never works. Everyone knows.
Yeah, people can smell it, right? People can smell that it's not real.
Yeah. Like in the beginning, I will tell you, I screwed up on one thing. I thought Shawn Mendes and Camilla, sorry, was a fraud from day one. Not this time, but in the beginning. But guess what? It wasn't. So even I don't know everything. We all don't know.
That's true.
As a publicist, I'm sorry, Dax. What did you say?
No. I was just going to sound off and say, I was in the same boat as you, Lizzie. At the beginning, I was like, oh, this is totally a PR relationship. There's no way these two are real.
You know why we thought that, but that's fine,
And then they lasted for a really long time. And I was like, oh, damn, I was wrong.
They're still together. Funny.
Yeah.
Like, So.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Do you ever have clients that say, listen, I think this actress or this other celebrities cute, can you hook me up? And then do you call their team and say, hey, listen, this person's interested?
I get ridiculous asks. So let's put it to you this way. 99.9% it never happens. I know the actor. I get asked for Bradley Cooper. Oh, who doesn't have a crush on Bradley Cooper? Okay. Maybe not me, but I mean, I think he's a great guy. He was on Power Girls.
When you like look for a story to see if it's true, where do you go? Like, what is the website that you go to that you trust?
To be honest with you guys, TMZ and people.com.
Yeah.
And Page 6 and the New York Post.
Yeah, it's funny because I asked that to a lot of people, just like which site do
Is
you
there
actually
one go-to? No, because one time TMZ puts up people, post, or you know what I'm saying. So
Mm-hmm.
or Hollywood Reporter is a great publication. I like that as well. And for everything fits a purpose. But if it's breaking entertainment, celebrity gossip, it's TMZ, People, or Page Six.
Yeah.
Reality on Page Six, they really like that.
How much does PR typically charge? Like how much? How does it work?
Every company's different, and I don't feel like that.
Not your prices. And is there an average of like how?
No.
Or break it down. What?
No, there are companies who are very smart. Though they play the numbers games, okay? But then you give them zero attention. The people who pay the least are the most needy in any business. So I'd rather be a leaner, meaner machine.
Do you pass on people? Like if Kanye came to you?
Every day of the week.
If Kanye comes, you're like, it's just not worth my energy that I know.
I always say this: it's not worth the check, because the check will only bring me problems. I have no problem ripping up a check and handing someone back the money. That's my problem, because honestly, like if someone misrepresents themselves, I had a client come to me, great voice, everything. Not recently, this is years ago. They won Idol. Okay, they chose not to tell me. They were stuck in a deal for 5 years. Okay, like I don't watch those shows. Listen, when you're listening to music for the past how many years in my company, I'm a little tapped out. And being a high schooler, like with the rest of us, before that in college, I went for a brief period of time, but I did live in Boston, and I went on tour. I was an intern at Sony, and I went on tour with NSYNC. And not NSYNC, I'm sorry. Donnie Wahlberg is back.
Wahlberg, yeah. How competitive are publicists with each other? Like,
I'm not competitive, because you know what? I totally do something different. I offer some different care. And again, to my clients, I'm like more or less, record deals are like a 360 company. Deals. I'm a 360 company when it comes to talent management. Okay, PR. And if they have a script that I think is interesting, I'm not putting out a movie for just about anyone.
I actually think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's, you said that the clients that pay the least are the most needy. And I get that. And I say this, like, if you're Brad Pitt's publicist, I got to feel like it's an easy job compared to,
you know what it is?
Janelle Monáe.
Responding to emails. To me, that couldn't be more boring. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's why all those personal PR companies are great. They go on retainer, off retainer, on retainer, off retainer. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, like Brad Pitt is a novelty client. I would, as a client, any PR is Cindy still doing Brad Pitt?
Probably. I don't think he's.
That's how I know Cindy. Okay, like when I was first starting out, she was, wow, Brad. That's a great client to have. People in the beginning, wow, you're Britany, but when I first got Britany, I couldn't get her arrested. Okay, so let me tell you that. So it takes a little time.
Takes time, yeah. What was, I guess, was Britany the biggest vanity client for you? The person that got you the most notoriety? Like people were like, oh shit, like she's represented by Lizzie, or like anything like that?
No, I'll be honest with you. I have a solid, great group of clients who I've worked with on and off since I've been in business with. Granted, I think Jay-Z is a great vanity client. How's that? I think that Puff is a great vanity client. I think that Justin and NSYNC, even Backstreet. I mean, Naomi Campbell, she's an icon. Okay. I had Jessica Hart. I've had everyone at one point or another. Wu-Tang. Okay, the original Wu-Tang. But then again, every time in life since I've had my company, someone else is relevant.
Yeah.
And this is the first time where I feel like my kids are both at boarding school, which I don't love, but they need to be there. One is, here's my mental health scream, okay? One is dyslexic and one has a really bad ADHD. He makes me look perfectly sane. Insane. Perfectly sane. That's better. But I think that again, you want to have the clients, like, I'm not going to take on someone who someone else created.
Mm-hmm.
And also I'm friends with a lot of the PR people. Like, at this point in my life, I don't care that much to like be catty and petty. I'm too old for that.
Yeah. I got one last question for you before we let you go, and I think Adam might have one more. But, we talked a little bit about like this crisis PR, and you've been doing a bunch of that during COVID. So when publicists go into damage control, what exactly are you guys doing? What is?
I mean, first I research. I never sign a client without looking into it. Okay, and really getting the documentation, dotting my I's and crossing my T's. I annoy everyone by saying that, but I really am one of those people. And then that's it, 1, 2, 3. Because my advice to everyone is settle.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, why go through this forever and ever, be dragged through the mud? So if there really is everyone settles. Mm-hmm. You think I heard what's his name? Army Hammer is got off.
So when
everyone off.
So when you're thinking of crisis PR, you're talking about like lawsuits and stuff. But I guess I mean,
what is a crisis to you?
To me, it's getting fired from a big show. It's saying something stupid. It's saying a racist remark, or an anti-Semitic remark.
Again, that's a 1, 2, 3 thing, because we put out one statement and bye-bye. If a network that I'm working for is firing people because they were made a racist comment, not 27 years ago, that's my big problem. I think people are young and dumb, including myself when I was a kid. And Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, they all say go on at a certain age. So they can't really be responsible when kids are doing things, because kids should not be on these. Again, I have 2 teenagers who are not of age and are both on all the platforms, Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying I'm not an offender, a mom offender, I'll call myself, of giving my kids social media. But they go to boarding.
My last question for you is, I feel like every publicist, I'm not saying you, but it's always the same response. If there's a death in the family, if there's a divorce, if there's a breakup, there's always the same PR announcement. It's saying, please we'll keep our privacy. Is that something you have? Is it like the standard thing that you guys?
Of course, I start with that if I don't know the person. But long story, basically, I'm very honest because I'm an open book with my life. So if they're coming to me, they know my history. They know what I've been through, what I've gone, the press I've gotten. There was a day I said, no more press. I said, that's it, So I think that if you're coming to work with me, you're signing up for.
Yeah. Lizzie, it has
I'm
been...
not a mystery. I wish I was.
Lizzie, this has been awesome. I love talking to people on the inside of Hollywood, the people that really...
Me too. I love it. It's just so fun.
Are like making the stars, or keeping people relevant, because that is one of the hardest jobs out there. People think that, I can help get press. Press is not an easy thing to get.
No, and also
really difficult.
And you're right. You don't want to. Hypothetically, I call you up, interview this nobody. You'll say yes to me. It'll never make it on the air. Okay. You know what goes on here, and I probably would say to you at some point, do me a favor. The years ago, when I realized that you just don't take a client because some record label or some company says it'd be the next best thing. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, no, we get that quite often. We'll get we'll give you our client, but first, can you have on so-and-so? And we're like, come on.
Yeah, that's why I never do package deals.
Oh, that's always a stab to the heart. Yeah, we'll give you this big client. But we're going to make this really hard for you to get to the big client. We got to have you interview 3 other people first. It's always a game. But I again, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and hanging out with us.
It's been great to speak to you, and it's good to see you.
And give everyone your Instagram handle if they want to go follow you on IG.
Well, I have two. Hold on. I can give you my personal is Lizzie Lizzie _score Grubman. And then I always get confused because I got hacked. So Instagram changed my company one to LIZZIE GRUBMAN.MGMT.
All right. I love it. Well, thank you.
So thank you guys for having me. It was great speaking to both of you.
That was fun.
That was fun. She was one of those people that I've had on my list of like, she'd be a really great guest. It took a little while to like get it all scheduled out, but I'm happy it happened. You know, she's fun. She's interesting. And she didn't talk as much. Like, she really has represented freaking everyone in the industry. Everyone at a young age too. Yeah. And it's like,
I mean, she was working with them when they were young as well, but you know, let's just say, for example, P. Diddy, let's say Britney Spears. Britney Spears, at the height of her career, was working with Lizzie when she was still a young kid. And it says a lot. And Lizzie would definitely say and undermine it, but I asked her during the interview, but she was a very powerful person. You know, if you wanted to get to Britney, you couldn't DM her on Instagram. You had to go through her publicist, and she was the gatekeeper. And then then Lizzie was taking over nightlife. She had all the clubs. And if you want to get in the clubs, you either needed to know the guy at the door, know the owner of the club, or know Lizzie. So she was important. It was
funny because she downplays it. She's like, oh, I've done this. Oh, I've had these, but like for people that didn't know her name before this podcast, Lizzie is freaking enormous. She has been in this game for a very long time. She knows everyone and everyone knows her.
Yes. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe is the best thing to do to support us. Also, if you want to support us, leave a review. Please keep the reviews coming in. It really means a lot, and we'll actually read your review live on air. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We have a private Facebook group called Off the Record. I highly suggest you joining it. It's a really cool, fun community where you guys can talk to us. We talk to you, and it's just great. Follow me at Adam Glyn. Follow Dax Holt at Dax Holt. We'll see you guys next week.
What's up, guys? If you like that video, there's plenty more where that came from. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell so we can just feed you all the goodness daily. Hurry up. Come on, let's go.